Cosplayland, I am Alice and today I am making a new Tifa cosplay from scratch in 2 weeks. Yeah. What I didn't tell you last time is that I am going to be entering the competition with Tifa, but I am actually making 2 cosplays in one, so I can just make a quick change of clothes because everybody loves changes of clothes. And for that I have about 2 weeks to finish it, and I need to make sure it fits on top of this one because otherwise the illusion of making a very quick change of clothes is not going to be there. So yeah, I do have a few things to do and I really do have to do it very quickly, so I am going to start planning and start sewing right now. Fortunately, I have this Final Fantasy VII art book that should speed up the process and has some very good reference pictures for all the dresses, including the kimono. I will have to make the kimono, the obi and all the flowers in order to make this accurate to the real thing. And as you can see, there's a lot of different textures and materials in here as well. The truth is, I have actually been gathering fabrics to make this cosplay for quite a while now, and I will be using a collection of cottons, satins and honestly anything that looks remotely similar to Tifa because it's crazy. Now, I have a plan and I have the fabrics. The problem is that I have literally been gathering materials for this project for literally years, and some of these fabrics are not available anymore. Actually, none of them are available anymore. Some of them were made to measure and I had to get them printed just for this project, and I cannot afford messing it up because if I do, literally I will not have time to order new fabric to make it, so I need to make sure it's absolutely perfect and nothing can fail, otherwise I am going to be in big trouble. Just want to mention, like, this combination of leopard, zebra and snake is like, I will wear this every day. Like, honestly, Tifa, exotic, your style is like no other. Yeah, no judgment here. So it was time to cut the pieces of the pattern, and you will be thinking, that's so easy, you already have a kimono pattern. Well, I had to make a new pattern for this project because there were so many new parts, I had to make sure it all matched. I will be leaving you a link in the description if you would like to save some time and download this pattern. Today is really not my day. Even the fabric is too short for my mock-up, and that's the only fabric I have like big enough at the moment because I have literally used it all. So yeah, I'm gonna have to just like go for a walk. Fortunately, there's like a shop around the corner that has like just basic stuff, so I'm just gonna have to either go to the charity shop or just like get a few meters of very cheap cotton fabric in order to be able to make a mock-up, but I really don't want to risk failing on this cosplay, so yeah, back in a minute. I couldn't find any cotton, but this cheap satin was enough, and they had enough just to be able to make a mock-up. I will be reusing this fabric for other projects, so do not worry because nothing is wasted in my workshop. With a little bit of help, I was able to test my pieces and just make my pattern to make sure the cosplay would work. Okay, yesterday did not go according to plan. I really was planning to just finish most of the kimono, and I just didn't have time because I'm changing phone companies and of course there were issues, and I literally spent 5 hours just trying to figure out how to reconnect all my social media on my new phone because it was not working, and I hate Facebook and Meta and all about it. But I did manage it. I did not manage to finish this, but I quickly put together a mock-up for Tifa. Probably this is the worst mock-up I have ever sewn in my whole life, and that's something. But now I can see that the pattern that I want to use should work, which is good news, so I'm not so terrified to cut into my fabric. In any case, the mock-up was a good idea because I was able to lengthen the pieces that were too short, but unfortunately I did not have enough of the good fabric to make my sleeves longer, and I know they will be showing slightly underneath. But it is finally time to start cutting the pieces. And the first part I will be making is the details on the sleeves. And if you remember, my cutting machine is broken, so I had to order these very expensive heat transfers, which were actually very nice and very quick to apply. You will, however, need special equipment to apply them, as your normal iron is not enough. The machine I use is called a heat press, and you can find smaller and cheaper ones, but this one is the perfect size for bigger projects like this one. Do not forget to test your fabric first, because this gets really hot and you could be melting your fabric by mistake. It is also very easy to melt the transfers if you accidentally reheat it while you iron your seams, so make sure to be careful and cover any mistakes with a bit of paint if necessary. I decided to use natural silk for the lining of the kimono, so it was easier to dye. Because in the original references you can see the gradient from white to pink, and I wanted to recreate it. However, the dyeing process did not go according to plan, and it was a little bit of a mess. This really didn't go according to plan, but it's gonna have to do. There's a couple of stains and stuff, but this is the lining. I don't have more fabric, I don't have time to remake it. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It's the next day, my fabric has dried, and as you can see it has a lovely color. It's not as neat and as nice as I would have liked this, like definitely some marks there. It's catching more on the camera than in real life, but yeah, it is not perfect. There's definitely a few stains because I messed up. However, I think the color is quite nice. It's not far off the color of my test. Obviously, I was going for this kind of effect. It did not go according to plan because of circumstances, but I have decided to keep them because this is real silk. It's expensive fabric, and I don't like wasting materials, and it's gonna be on the inside. It's not even gonna be noticed unless I say, hey, I actually dyed this, so it's not even worth doing it again. And yeah, sometimes you just have to carry on. There's no need to do everything perfect. It's okay, embrace your mistakes, and that's fine. Just like move on, and let's just assemble my sleeves, which are so cool. Look at this. Just a quick word of warning. As you know, I was dyeing this fabric. This is real silk, and I used hot water, and it actually shrunk a little bit. So yeah, definitely. It's not a big deal because it's like about 1 centimeter, and I can just hide it over here, so it's not the end of the world. But definitely, if you are dyeing fabric and it is silk or a natural fiber or like anything, just make sure before you cut your patterns you pre-wash your fabric, just to avoid things like this, because
To assemble the sleeves, I first sew the lining to the cuffs before I turn them inwards and iron them. I made sure my lining peeked through at the front because I spent a lot of time doing this detail and I wanted my pink to be seen. I attached the sleeves to the body of the kimono with both pieces fully open. This is the non-traditional way to do it, and I explain it differently in the instructions, but as I was short of fabric, this was the best option for me. And with my right sides together, I then sew the front and bottom of my lining and of my sleeves. I actually recommend you to hand sew the lining instead of doing it like me, because it's way easier and less confusing. So just finish the whole kimono and then just finish the whole lining and put them together. And don't forget to reinforce the joining parts, otherwise your sleeve will come undone. Once my sleeves were finished, I carried on sewing the body. Remember that there is a gap underneath the sleeve on female kimono, and it is left unsewn. I also marked the position of the overlap piece in the front. This piece is a bit weird as it is attached in the middle of the panel. Simply align the sewing lines and just stitch into place. I decided to line the inside of my kimono as well, and I simply had to follow the same steps as for the body. I was able to sew the lining of the sleeves to the body using my machine. However, the gap underneath needed to be sewn by hand. I will be covering the other edges of the kimono with a different fabric, so I only had to baste the layers together to make sure they didn't shift while I sewed them.
Quick update. Here is the kimono on top of the other costume, and it's still slightly short. However, there's like a black part over here. It's gonna be a little bit longer than it should, but I think if I just like make it like this long, it's gonna be just about enough. Same with the sleeves, they just show, but there's like, I really can't do much more with it. So yeah, it may show a little bit underneath, but that's the best I can do with the amount of materials I've got.
For the edges, I simply sandwiched a piece of black satin around the hems, making sure the corners looked good.
It's more or less to a wearable stage. Like, I love the sleeves. Actually, when I wear them, I thought they were gonna be shorter, but they are about the right size to just hide everything. So that's a win. However, when I was doing this fold over here, I wasn't sure of how to do it because obviously the bottom part needed the extra length, and I used it all around it the same way, but obviously the kimono is already set for sitting here, which is where it should be sitting as a kimono, and you can see it in the reference, it's sitting halfway through the body. And when I attach this part, I just added the extra length here, which means now instead of sitting here, it's sitting over there, which is not right. It's not correct. It's an easy fix. I fortunately have not completely sewn it all yet, but it means that I'm gonna have to just like undo all this part and sew it further in. When you work for such a long time without taking breaks and it gets to the end of the week and you see nothing is working, it gets to a point in which you will get burnt out and your body is telling you that you need to stop, usually by just sewing things wrong 3 times and stuff like that. So yesterday I decided just to stop, take a break. I kind of took the rest of the day off. And even if today is Saturday, what I'm gonna do is just calmly, I'm gonna just try to remake the things that were not working yesterday. And if they don't work, it's okay, it's not the end of the world. I still have time, I don't need to panic. And yeah, basically I'm just gonna carry on with the kimono and just take it easy. And you know, I'm doing this for fun, it's for a competition, but it's still, at the end of the day, I do cosplay for fun. There's no need, I really don't want to end up like getting ill just because of a silly competition or anything like that. So if this ever happens to you, just, you know, when you start sewing things wrong, your body is just telling you need to stop. So sometimes it's better to just like step away from the things that are making you anxious. In my case was like trying to finish the cosplay at a certain time, and it did not work obviously. And just like, you know, take your time as long as you need, and you know, the next day will be a brand new day where you can just like try and carry on, and if it's not today, it will be tomorrow, and it's okay. I have plenty of time, no need to panic.
So I just had to sew for a little bit longer until it was finally correct.
This is the temperature right now. It's about like 4 in the afternoon. I cannot really feel my hands and I'm trying to hand sew everything, but yeah, I don't have central heating, so it's a lot of blankets for me. So let's hope we finish soon. Today is Monday, it's still super cold, I still have lots to do. I'm only halfway through this one, and about 40% on this one, but I did manage to finish all the trim on the kimono. It took me like 3 or 4 hours while watching films yesterday night. And I have also done the second color for the kimono, but I don't like this material because it's a little bit too plasticky and it's kind of sticky and makes like weird stuff, so I ordered some more fabric to remake it, but if for a reason I don't have time, I can use this one. I still have a lot to do because I still have to do the obi, I have to do the fake juban underneath and all the little details, but I'm just hoping that's gonna be easier and I can just have it done in 2 or 3 days.
And this is the fake collar I decided to make. This is actually how it is done traditionally in Japan if you don't want to wear a full juban, so I am very happy I went for this option because it was much quicker to wear. Finally, it was time to make the obi, which is a series of rectangles folded to make a bow. Of course, once again, I wanted to go for the practical way of doing this cosplay, and I decided to make the bow detachable, but still using the modern Japanese approach to ready-made obis. In order to make the bow sit in the right place above the obi, I used some wire to attach it at the back. I also saw this fold detail at the front of the obi.
Sewing the obi for the last half an hour, just ironing it to be perfect so I can turn it. And guess what? I put the lining in the wrong place, so if I turn it, instead of getting the lining, I get the interfacing.
So once again, it was time to remake some parts. With the obi done, I just needed a few more details. I only had to attach a couple of rectangles underneath the obi to create the rest of the volumes. And the black part is simply gathered with a straight stitch. Of course, I decided to make all the flowers from scratch because I'm a cosplayer and that's what you do, right? This honestly took a while, and I also had a few issues with the petals.
6 petals. There are 6 petals.
But I did manage to fix it. With a bit of force. A few more pieces and the headband was done. And finally, it is time for the reveal. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of footage of this dress, as I was out with my friends taking photos in Christmas and we didn't have much time to record. But here you have some takes of my beautiful friend Larsen as Aerith, which was the culprit of this crazy project. I really want to wear my Tifa dresses again at some point, and there is actually one more video in which I will show you our trip to one of the biggest conventions in Spain. Of course, a massive thanks to my Patreons that cheered me up through the project and made this dream possible, and to you for watching this video till the end. I will be back next week with more adventures and the final part of my Tifa series. I really hope you liked it, so see you then! Bye!
We got guests, and y'all got first crack at entertaining. Oh, yeah!
El parque del fish and chips.
¿Tú qué dices, Herrero?
Parque del fish and chips.
¡Ha ido muy rápido!
Voy mal.
Qué frío.
¡Ostras, que es el vídeo!
¿El vídeo o no?
¡El vídeo!
Una camioneta.